Hey guys, what's up? I'm bringing you a brand new Xcode tutorial, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to create an all-around baseball application. Now this is eventually going to go on the App Store under my personal developer's account, but I'm just going to show you in case you're new to Xcode and you kind of want to know how to do something maybe similar to this, or maybe you're just trying to learn Xcode and you want to play around with some new ideas and stuff. So first we're going to go over to Xcode, and then I'm going to exit out of that. And you're going to open a new Xcode project. Now I'm using the beta. You don't have to use the beta. I suggest using Xcode 6 though, because this is going to be in the Swift language. So that's going to be important. Now for me, I'm going to use a tabbed application, but if you have some skill, what you can do is you can do a single view application, and you can have it so that way you can use a pan gesture to open a table view. But maybe we'll get into that another day. For right now, we're just going to do a tabbed application. So click next. Oh, and by the way, make sure this is under iOS application, tabbed application. So click next. Product name, I'm just going to name this baseball app tab video. You can just name your organization name, whatever. I don't think it matters unless you're actually putting something on the App Store. Language, we're going to have it be in Swift. Devices, I'm going to show you how to do it in iPhone. And these two really don't matter, just whatever, have them check marked. It doesn't really matter. So click next. Create. Okay, so if this is your first time using Xcode, you might want to familiarize yourself with some stuff. So basically, this is going to be your first view controller and your second view controller. This is where you're going to put your code in. Now, when it says first view controller, it's talking about... Oops, that's way too zoomed in. Let me just change some real quick, guys. It's talking about these two. Basically, when it says first view controller, it means this one right here, and the second is this one. So those are the two view controllers that you're going to have your code for. And this is just a tab bar controller, which basically, it's basically so it says, you know, where these two are placed. So we're just going to call it, first of all, so basically the two things that we're going to include in our app are going to be a pitch counter, and the second one is going to be a scoreboard. The code for both of these are going to have the same general idea, so you don't even need to watch the full tutorial. You can maybe only watch this part and try and figure out the second on your own, but I suggest if this is your first time using Xcode, you probably should watch the whole video. So first you're going to delete first view and load by first view controller. You're just going to delete them. It's not necessary. You're going to make sure that the hide or show the utilities. You want to make sure that this is opened, and you want to scroll down until you find the label. Now make sure this is under the first one, because this is the one that I'm messing with, the pitch counter one. Make sure you're under this one. So you're going to just drag a label. It doesn't really matter where you place them, just I would make it neat, and we're just going to call this pitch counter, just have it be a label, and just make sure it's a bit bigger so that way. Alright, sorry about that, Xcode crashed on me there. So basically you want to kind of resize that, make sure you could fit in. This is way too bold for me, so I'm just going to change this. I like the ultralight, it looks very nice, that's what I usually use. Just make sure that this is nice, visible, and you know, you could see it. So then you're going to add another label. It's important that this is a label. This one is actually very important. So you want to title this one 0. Center it. I'm just going to use ultralight just because I said I like that one. And you want to make it, I would say, around 100. So I'm going to use 100, and then you want to just make that bigger, and then you want to actually extend this out doesn't have to be extended that big, but you want it to be extended. So that way it can fit multiple digits in here. Okay. So once you have that done, I'm going to actually lower this down a little bit. Once you have that done, you're going to add a couple buttons. You're going to add exactly 3 buttons. 1, 2, 3. Now, this is just another personal preference. I don't like that color blue. I'm just going to change it to black, and I'm going to also change it to ultralight. So you can also name these buttons whatever you want as long as you know what their functions are. So this first function for me is going to be a count up button. And then we're going to resize it. With the buttons, they're already manually centered, so you don't have to do anything about that. I mean, in the text, in the actual box, it's already centered. So you don't have to actually change it like we did for the labels. And this button, just change it black. Style, ultralight, done. Name, count down button. Enter. Make it a little bit bigger. Center that, and you know, while I'm at it, might as well just extend that to the same length. And then this is going to be our reset button. So reset. Color, black. Style, ultralight. Done. Okay, so we have everything set up for the pitch counter. Now what we need to do is we need to edit the code. So you're going to go into you're going to click on this that says pitch counter right up here. So you're going to click on it, and then you're going to click on the assistant editor. And then I'm just going to do that. Okay, so basically, you don't have to place it. Just make sure it's after where it says class first view controller, UI view controller. It has to be after that bracket right here and before this ending bracket right here. Make sure it is not inside override func view did load or inside the did receive memory warning. Make sure it's not inside any of those brackets, okay, because that will not do what we want it to do. So I'm just going to go to the first line after that and just give myself plenty of room. And the first thing I'm going to do is just set up a variable. So we're going to say var counter number equals 0. So basically what we just did is we created a variable that is called counter number, which is technically it's going to be this. This is technically going to be our counter number, and we set it to an integer 0. So by default, the integer is going to be 0, but we will have it set so that way when we push a button, that number will change, which is why it is a variable and not a let. But we'll go into that into another tutorial. Okay, so basically, skip a line. Now you want to add the label. So you're just going to control click, or left click, whatever, or right click rather. You can control click and just drag it in here. It's going to be an outlet, and it's going to be called counter label. Connect. Now, you're going to add the 3 buttons, so you're just going to control click. Actions. These are all actions. And the type is going to be UI button. So the name is going to be counter, or count up. Count up. No, just count up. No, count up button. That makes it look better. I always like to have the first letter lowercase of the first word and the rest uppercase. But you don't have to do that. It's just a preference. Click connect. Give yourself some space. And then just do the same for each of these, except you're going to name them accordingly. So action, UI button, count down button. Connect, some space, okay, and then finally action UI button, reset button, connect. And then we're just gonna delete all this extra room. You don't have to, of course. So then you're gonna click this these lines, the standard editor, so you get back to this screen, and then you're gonna close this so it's no longer blue. Then you want this up, and you're gonna go over to the first view controller, which is what we set it up in. If you set it up in second view controller, go to that. And then just close that. Basically, I just did this. It's basically just the assistant editor, except it gives us a nice set of space, and we don't need to see the main storyboard anymore, so this just gives us more room. So basically, we set up our variable, counter number, and we set up our 3 buttons and the label. So basically, under count up button, or whatever you named it, I'm not going to keep saying that, so just a warning. So you're going to go over here and you're going to say the counter number plus equals 1. So it's saying that when we touch, or when we tap the count up button, you're going to add 1 to the counter number. But it doesn't know what the counter number is. So we have to say counter label space equals space counter number. It's going to have to be set up just like that. So it's going to be quotation, backslash, parenthesis, counter number, close parenthesis, close quotation. So it's going to be exactly like that. Now it's giving me an error, so I'm just going to... Oh, I'm sorry. It's going to be counter label dot text. My bad. And I'm just going to delete... Oops. Huh. Didn't want to do that. Just delete some of that. Just reformat a little bit. Okay, so then you want to go into the countdown button, and you want to say counter number minus equals 1. So every time you touch it, it's going to subtract 1. And then you want to say the same declaration here. Oops. You want to say the same declaration as this here. You can copy and paste that. I just like rewriting it. So it's going to be counter label dot text space equals space counter number. And then delete this excess space. Okay, now for the reset button. This is going to be a little bit different than the rest of them, but it's actually a lot simpler. So basically, we're just going to say the counter number is 0. And then we're going to say counter label dot text. Oops, what the heck did I just do? Okay. Oh, okay, that was weird. Okay, counter label dot text equals, and then in quotations, you're just going to say 0. And it's just as easy as that. So basically, it just says the counter number is going to be 0, and the counter label is going to be 0. And that's pretty much it for the counter, or for the pitch counter. So you're just going to, now we're just going to fix some formatting issues that it's going to have. So basically, you can set it up differently. Like maybe for your own personal device, you want to have it set up a specific way. But basically, these controllers are all set up to be inferred. You can set them to a specific device and format it like that. But if, like I said, you're trying to put it on the App Store, I don't suggest it. So what you're going to do is you're just going to go over to the pitch counter, click this, and close out of that. And you want to click the Resolve Auto Layout Issues. You want to click that, and you want to click Reset to Suggested Constraints. And I would say about 80% of the time, it'll come out perfect. The constraints are basically just saying how everything is going to be laid out. So, like, on an iPhone 4, it doesn't have the same screen size as an iPhone 6, 6 Plus, or 5. So, you want to have all of the screens set up a certain way. So, it's basically saying that the pitch counter is, so far away from this label, the 0 label. And the count up button is a certain, thing away from the count down button and the reset button.
Hi.
I'm on the phone. Okay, sorry about that. Xcode crashed again. That's the downside of using the beta. So basically, yeah, all of these are a certain thing away. So we're going to click play. I'm just going to have it on iPhone 6. It just makes it, it's just a default thing. You're going to click play. And yes, okay, the simulator is going to open. Usually I found that the first time you launch it, it's going to, yep, it crashed. So let's just shift command HH, close out of that, reopen it. Okay, so it works. So let's test out the buttons. Looks like the layout actually worked out pretty well. Sometimes I get some errors. So count. That worked. Okay, so that seemed to work out good. Now what we're going to get into is this. Okay, so basically this is called the tabs control. And basically it's just saying, this screen is different than this one. This is going to be a different view controller. So we're just going to... Okay, guys, that's been it for this tutorial. If you subscribe, you will catch the next part of this tutorial, which is how to make a scoreboard, which is fairly simple, and it uses the same ideas as the pitch counter. So make sure you guys look out for that, and I hope you guys are enjoying the Xcode. I hope you guys enjoyed this Xcode tutorial, and more like it will be coming. So subscribe if you liked it, like the video if you liked it, whatever. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.